Merry Christmas, everybody. My name is Sandy. Sandy Brand. And I want to thank you for all the cards that you sent me. I really love Christmas cards. I used to save them, and then after I'd get them, I'd return a card. And this year, after receiving the first 2 cards, and I didn't know who they were from, Alan told me what he did. And he told me that I was going to be getting cards from all over places, that from people I don't know and that he is just acquaintance with. And tonight he went through everybody. I've got one over there from Zoe, and from Rachel and Rich Schultz and family, and Toby in England, and then there's an April and a Kate, and then Courtney and Emily and Allison and Tori and Stephanie and the Kate Schulter and family, and then Lauren. Lauren is my niece and her family. Then LaShawn and family, and then there's Chris, who's in Canada, and Timothy, who's my brother, and there's Justin. And after this, he even has to become a pen pal, which I'm very privileged to be able to write to somebody to let them know how I'm doing. And then there's Mark and Emily and Rachel and Lauren and Brian and Kate Austin and family, and another Amy and Tori and Christy and Zen. I think Zen, wasn't Zen the one that sent it to
who?
Jen.
Jen, yeah. She's my friend that gives me rides to church.
Who was it that sent me your card?
Oh, that was April.
Okay, April sent me Alan's card instead. And then there's Emily, another Emily, and then there's Valerie and Matilda, who are kids that Zoe takes care of. They handmade Christmas cards. They colored them and cut them out. And they're on my door over there with all the rest of my cards. And then there's Jess and Heather. Jer and Heather. And Mel and Piper. And then there's Beth in Australia. And David. Then there's Kev in England. And Mallory and Jared and family. And Shane and family. And Chad. And Jared. And Derek. And Lainey. And that one, the card of that one. It's a picture of the Oakland Temple on that one. Which means a lot to me, because I was sealed to my ex-husband in the Seattle Temple in 1971.
The Oakland Temple.
Yeah, the Oakland Temple, I'm sorry.
That's okay. You're kind of crying, so it's okay.
And it just means a lot to me to have something to know. Then to see the temple and know that they were sealed there also. And then I got a card from Tania and Marty. But Tania, she wrote it Tania Harper. But I know she's Tania Dickerson. I want to tell you, Tania, please change your name. It's time to change. You're married now. And then there's one from Bishop and Sister Metcalf. And Heather and Chris and Jeanette and Ellen in Canada. And then the Bellevue Team Store where Alan works. And Rachel. And Kristen and Holland. And Amy. And then there's Courtney in Australia, who gave me a huge box of cookies. That's going to probably take me a year to eat. Since I had surgery 3 years ago for weight loss. Cookies and such like that I nibble on. I don't eat a lot of them anymore. But I'll share them and I'll make sure everybody enjoys them. And I will too. And then there's Kurt. And then Alan says there's other people that have also sent cards. I want to thank everybody for them sharing how much they appreciate my son. Because I was only allowed to have one child. It took me 9.5 years to get pregnant with Alan. And during the time I was pregnant with him, I was in an automobile accident that hurt my back. And the doctors told me not to get pregnant for 2 years. In 2 years, when Alan was 2 years old, I was diagnosed with multiple sclerosis. And because I had a lot of fatigue at that time, they advised me not to have any more children. And so I had my tubes tied off, and so Alan is my only child. And it's nice to know that there's people all around the United States that know him. And now I hope they know me too. I know there are a lot of them are on Facebook. And I don't know how to use, I have a Facebook account, but I don't know how to use it. I haven't learned how to use it yet. I'm not that computer savvy yet. But Alan says he'll teach me. And so who knows, one of these days I'll put more pictures of me. Because I can still walk. No, I got new crutches for Christmas from the physical therapist. Because I want to get myself out of my wheelchair and walk more. So I can lose more weight. And I'm just so glad to know that there's so many people to share their love for my son at Christmas. Because he is a very special child. I was promised a son in my patriarchal blessing. So when I was pregnant, I knew I'd have a boy. And he is a very special child. He's not the Christ child, no. But in some ways, in my life, he's been that way. He took care of me after my divorce when he could. And now living here in Seattle, I get to see him more often. And so I'll be living here in Seattle until I depart this world.
Let's not talk about that.
And so if anybody wants to send me letters or cards or anything, you can write to me. And if we become friends, pen pals, that's okay. Again, I want to thank everybody. And now Alan has to open his stocking. So, Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.